You may have heard the phrase sensory processing disorder or sensory processing difficulties. To understand what this means, we first need to look at what our senses are and how they work. Our senses work together to create our experience of the world. They feed information into our brains, which uses this to tell us about the world around us. Sensory processing is a term that we use to describe what our brains do to understand all of this sensory information. We have 8 sensory systems. Visual, which is our sense of sight. Sight comes from light entering our eyes. This is interpreted as things like color, brightness, shape, or movement. Auditory, which is our sense of hearing. Hearing comes from sound waves that enter our ears. We then process these as different sounds at different pitches or volumes. Olfactory, which is our sense of smell. Smell comes from small particles being brought in through the nose. Gustatory, which is our sense of taste. Taste is picked up from the taste buds on our tongue, which gives us flavors such as sweet or savory. Tactile, which is our sense of touch. Touch comes from receptors in our skin that give us the sensation of things such as rough and smooth, hot or cold, or even pain. Vestibular. This is our sense of balance and movement. It tells us of the position of our bodies in space, as well as the control of our eye movements. The receptors are in the inner ear and we feel movement when our head moves. Proprioceptive. This is our sense of joint and muscle position, as well as our posture. It's how we know where our limbs are without looking, and this is why you can close your eyes and still manage to touch your nose. Receptors in our large muscles and joints send this information to our brain. Interoception. This is our internal sensing. These are feelings inside our bodies such as hunger, thirst, needing the toilet, and even feelings like butterflies in our tummy. When all these senses work together with our brain, we can build a clear and accurate picture of the world around us. For many of us, sensory processing happens smoothly, so we don't even notice the hard work that our bodies and brains are putting in for us. Some of us may find the processing of this sensory information more difficult. This may be because of a sensory processing disorder, a condition that affects the way the brain receives and responds to sensory information. Everyone is different, so we all process our senses differently. Sensory processing disorder, also referred to as SPD, affects different people in different ways. It's fairly common to have difficulties with sensory processing. It's estimated to affect around 16% of school-aged children. However, with some knowledge and understanding, there are plenty of things that you can do to make living with sensory processing disorder much easier.